So what happened? Uh, I had posted a video with just some bending stuff, talking about crescendoing into the kind of final part of our solo in a blues jam session, and then we're gonna hand it back to the singer. And somebody left a little comment, a nasty comment, and while that is not important, it made me think about criticism. And so that's what I want to address here is how to deal with criticism, excuse me, in your own guitar playing journey. So I've kind of broken this down. I feel like there's three baskets of opinion that should or shouldn't matter, however you want to think about it within your own guitar playing. And by the way, I have Willie the Weird Ass Wood Spirit here with me today. So the first basket of opinion that should matter is yours. And I say this because you as a guitar player know whether you're getting better or you're getting worse. Really only you know that. Anyone else from the outside looking in cannot tell what you are experiencing through your own fingers with how do those strings feel today versus yesterday, and how do those bends feel? Are you finding your spot? How does it feel today versus yesterday? That's a you thing. And it's good to be critical of yourself, of course. If you miss a note, you miss a note. That, you can't say, I didn't miss a note. No, yeah. And try to fix that. But like, critics give out bad reviews, but they also give out good reviews. So if you're starting to do something really well that you've been working on, so like you've been working on a vibrato and you're suddenly, you're starting to feel that thing, it's singing, it's starting to sing, then feel that yourself too, put that in the bag and say, okay, I'm starting to move in the right direction there. I have other things. Critical, but praise as well for yourself. That's the most important bucket because you know day to day how that thing feels in your hands. The second bucket would be bandmates, other guitarists who you've known for a long time, people you actually know, who play. Other instruments are fine too, those people's opinion will be targeted, they'll help you. So like for instance, if you play a show and a guy you've known for 20 years comes up and says, ooh man, just seemed a little flat today, well, that's something I might take into account actually. If a heckler from the crowd screams out, you suck, well, that's not going to help my playing. I can't take that and incorporate that. If someone says, you seemed sloppy, well, that's more of something I can incorporate. I can tighten up if and I probably knew that myself, and that comes back to bucket number one. So bucket number two is bandmates, other musicians, guitarists, people you've known a long time. Those people's opinion, you can take those. It's a little bit less than your own opinion, but you can take those opinions and say, okay, I can incorporate that. The third bucket of opinion that matters at all is your family and the people who hear you play all the time, people who hear you practice, people who hear you noodle, just jam. Those people's opinion matter a little. Okay, and I'm not, and don't get me wrong, to all the family members out there, the thing is they don't, again, know your fingers day to day. They aren't necessarily players, and as such, it matter if they come in and say, man, you felt like your energy was off today. That's a legitimate opinion that you can take for your playing for the next gig. Say, okay, yeah, maybe I wasn't moving enough. Maybe I need to headbang a little more. Just put the show on. That's a reasonable opinion. If, again, somebody that you don't know yells out, you suck, that's not going to help your playing. Like, okay, what do I need to change, buddy? Like, he probably doesn't play. He probably, no professional gigging player is ever going to yell, you suck from the crowd. So if someone comes up and says, your highs were like really spiky, that's a reasonable opinion on your tone that you can incorporate and you can say, okay, cool. I will crank down my trebs a little bit. I will bring that down. If someone comes up and says, we can't hear you, maybe I need more mids, maybe that's a mix thing, but if someone just screams out, you suck, you cannot and should not take that into account in your own playing. There's nothing you can change to help with that. So, see if we're getting a few comments here. He does, doesn't he? Yes. He has a certain Gandalf-y expression. Willie, the weird ass wood spirit here, guys. He helps me daily. He's my spirit animal, my guide to life here. But yeah, if you guys just were joining us, I was talking about opinions. Somebody had left me a nasty little comment, and so I thought, good time to talk about this. And just how to deal with and what you should even deal with within your own playing. And I was saying that the first bucket, of course, is yourself. Day to day if you're playing better or worse than you were yesterday. That's the only person who knows that. Your fingers, your touch on the strings, that is a personal experience. And so other people's opinion, there's only one other or couple other buckets I was saying that matter at all. And so number one, Number two, you have people that you've jammed with for a long time, people you play with consistently, bandmates. If you come into a show and afterwards they're like, hey man, you were really sloppy tonight, that is worth taking into account. That is an opinion you must take into account, that you're working, and it's the same as if you were at any job. I do a lot of woodworking, and if the cut is right, the cut is right. If the cut's wrong, the cut's wrong. There is such a thing as right and wrong when it comes to these, to band stuff. However, there is even some limits there too, but if you were sloppy or not. And then the third opinion I was saying is family members, people who hear you play all the time, who hear you practice, who hear you noodle around, people who hear you just, good, bad, ugly, just playing for yourself. Those people can offer reasonable opinions that can be taken. If you are playing a show and they're like, man, your tone is harsh tonight. The crowd's experience is important within your playing. If you're out playing a gig, do you want to play the gig again at that club? Well, then you shouldn't be so spiky that everybody's glasses are breaking. So you do need to take some tone advice there. If you're playing a solo and it's like you seemed very unfocused in that solo, that's a reasonable opinion that you could take and say, yeah, I can tighten up, I can craft my solo a little bit better. That's not something that you can, should delegitimize. But I was saying, if someone just yells, you suck, or, play Freebird, these 15 beers deep guys, these guys, they're not opinions you should take. So yeah, I definitely appreciate it, Marcos. Yeah, okay. Well, hey guys, I am going to have to check out for now. There will be some more live streaming later. I have a few other thoughts in these shorter videos that I'm going to get out, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.